11 NHL teams are facing salary cap penalties heading into the 24-25 season, which will greatly reduce what they have available, even with a major salary cap increase coming this summer. We'll discuss which teams are facing them, the amounts, and the reasons why, coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, we have an interesting topic to take a look at here today. There's actually 11 NHL clubs facing NHL salary cap penalties heading into next year. Now, that might sound harsh, might sound like they did something bad or broke the rules, and technically they did not do that. These are well within the rules. It's still considered a penalty because it's an overage that they technically would over the cap, but in this situation, it's not circumvention. They're allowed to do it and have it affect their following season's salary cap total. So essentially, there's some reasons why we're going to get into and explain all these details, as in what teams are affected, how much, and all those reasons. I mean, some of the main reasons why here are kind of because you can have entry-level contract players, so either rookies or for players in the first 3 years on their ELCs that can have a lot of bonuses built in. When those bonuses are achieved, it unlocks more money that they get paid out. If there's not enough room in their existing salary cap space for the current season, then how do they count it? They can't count it for the current season. They end up going over, which creates a penalty for the following year. And the situations with players that are either over the age of 35 or had a contract when they were on LTIR for basically like a full year and come back, they can have a bonus-laden contracts as well. A couple prime examples of that: Edmonton Oilers this year have those types of deals with Connor Brown and Corey Perry, both where they get a low salary, but they can earn substantially more money just by either playing a set number of games, scoring X number of goals, or the team achieving so much success, or what have you. So we're going to get into all that. So those are the two reasons why we are expecting an increase in the salary cap this year of $4.3 million based on the memorandum of understanding that was signed as it's basically a salary cap in the CBA negotiation during the pandemic. We would see like a 5% increase once the money from the pandemic that was owing from the players to the owners was repaid. I mean, we basically got confirmation earlier from Gary Bettman before that that's all taken care of finally, and we'll see our first increase in some time, more than $1 million in the last quite a few years now. So at the end of the day, some of these penalties were planned. It's a way of kind of kicking things down the road, if you will. So like the Oilers, when they signed those Perry and Brown contracts, they knew 100% that they were probably going to run into this predicament, because if those players hit those bonuses, they would not have the space. So like you say, some of these are accidental, some of them are on purpose, and at the end of the day, they all have the same impact. So let's go through here and take a look at which teams are facing these penalties and exactly how much. Now, there's these amounts too could possibly change a little bit, because there's still some things that have conditions based on playoff performance for a team or individual that could impact things. So let's first take a look here at the list of teams. I'll show you on the screen. This is all courtesy of dailyfaceoff.com in conjunction with help from Cap Friendly, the one of the better salary cap websites around for hockey to follow along in the salary cap world with contracts and everything you need to know. I'm sure most of you know about Cap Friendly by now. Puckpedia is another good one as well, but they collaborated here with Cap Friendly on this one. So take a look at the screen. I'll show you the graphic here, which breaks everything down. So essentially, the Edmonton Oilers are going to be carrying $3.45 million over. That's pretty substantial. Corey Perry can still earn $50,000 extra for hitting the conference final or the Stanley Cup final. So there's still more that he can earn if those bonuses are unlocked. The Dallas Stars have an amount of $2.595 million. The Washington Capitals are another team that's facing an overage here, $2.252 million. The LA Kings, $1.85 million. The New Jersey Devils, $1.5 million. The Montreal Canadiens, $1.022 million. The Ottawa Senators, $850,000. The Rangers, $512,000. The Flyers, $245,000. The Bruins, only $50,000. The Panthers, which could be $500,000, and the Carolina Hurricanes could be $50,000. Now, some of these conditions, for example, with the Florida Panthers, the $500,000 could be there if they win the Stanley Cup, because Kyle Okposo's contract has it built in that if he wins the Stanley Cup, he gets paid an extra $500K. In the case of the Hurricanes, newly signed Jackson Blake has a stipulation in his contract, he can earn an extra $50,000 if he plays in 20 total games, counting regular season and playoffs combined. Unlikely to happen, but it is theoretically possible. The Minnesota Wild as well, Marco Rossi right now could earn an extra $212,000 if he's voted to the all-rookie team. So that could be impacting the Minnesota Wild total. That could change. Jonathan Quick could also earn an extra $25,000 in his contract just for winning the Stanley Cup, which will affect the Rangers amount. And the Ottawa Senators, even though they technically have an overage of $850,000, they're actually fortunate this year because of the Colin White buyout that they did a couple years back. They actually end up with a cap surplus this year. So because of that buyout, sometimes when you get those RFA buyouts, you actually end up getting like a credit down the road. And they did. They get like a $625,000 credit coming this year. So that'll cover a large chunk of that $850,000 bonus, which was earned by star rookie, or not, well, he was a star rookie, but stand-up defenseman Jake Sanderson. Jake Sanderson actually just missed earning another bonus. He actually earned a total of 4 bonuses in that amount. He just missed a 5th bonus for another $212,000. He only would have needed 1 more point to hit that. And Rangers youngster Will Cooley could have earned another bonus as well. He could have earned another $82,500 just by getting into 1 more game. So it goes to show you, whether or not they're a scratch or in the lineup, or, all these point totals, as small as they might seem, do certainly have a large impact on what they can earn and what impacts the team. So in all these cases, these amounts are going to come off the total of what can be available, for next year. Obviously, cap, like I said, is expected to rise by $4.3 million. That will put us up to, what would that be? $87.8 million next year. So at the end of the day, they're not going to have as much money at their disposal. And it's just quite that simple. Now, for example, we've seen bigger amounts than this, like $3.45 million is the top number this year from the Edmonton Oilers. But the record belongs to the Toronto Maple Leafs for having this occur. Back in 17-18, they had to carry over a $5.37 million. Of course, at that point, they would have had a lot of their top current players on their ELCs at that point, and we're all hitting all those bonuses and whatever, etc. So no wonder they had such a large amount. The Boston Bruins, for example, for last year, they had a lot of bonus structured contracts for their veterans that they came back, like Krejci and Bergeron, etc. And they ended up with $4.5 million that they had to carry over onto this year's cap. So that's part of the reason why the Bruins had such a tight cap this year, is all that dead space. And if you think about the Minnesota Wild as well, they're going to have a cap hit here of $425 right now, possibly more if Rossi hits that all-rookie team, and they've already got a ton of money that's considered dead space because of the Ryan Suter and Zach Parise buyouts. They're still affected by that for a couple seasons. So, that's a lot of money that they technically could have available if those things never would have happened, that is eating up their salary cap space and having a major impact. So like I said, obviously, these are technically penalties. Some of this is planned, some of this is not. It might sound worse than what it is, but at the end of the day, you could credit it to planned, knocking things down the road, so to speak. Instead of giving Corey Perry and Connor Brown bigger salaries, they structured the contracts that way so they could spread it out over 2 years. And obviously when it comes to the guys on their rookie contracts, well, that's a little bit tougher to predict. But you do need to leave salary cap space available in case those things happen, so you don't have an impact in the following year. So it's obviously tough to manage the cap. We've seen a record number of teams using LTIR this year throughout the course of the season. And because we haven't seen cap increases, really, besides the $1 million per year for quite some time. So hopefully, with a $4.3 million increase coming, and then over the next 2 or 3 years, we should see, $4 or $5 million per year, which, at least, so we can get back to having some bigger increases and having the amount of money available to players grow up, which also makes the money to spend on players go up, obviously, which kind of makes a lot of this stuff a little bit easier to manage. But like I said, call it cap mismanagement if you want. And some of it is just intentional. And some of these GMs, they know they're not going to be there forever. They're only focused on the now, if you will, the present, trying to win the Stanley Cup. And whatever happens over the next year or two, but more than that into the future, they're not thinking that far ahead because they know there's a chance they won't be there with the way some of these organizations change over the people in these jobs. So we'll see what happens. So that is your update regarding all these salary cap penalties heading into the offseason here and what can happen for the 24-25 NHL season. So, of course, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and stick around. We'll keep you up to date with all the news, rumors, and analysis of all 32 NHL teams. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.